Every once in a while, an opportunity comes along through a company acquisition where there might be a gap in the share price relative to the acquisition value. This is an element of arbitrage, and many investors attempt to take advantage of this in order to benefit from the gap in share price due to the uncertainty. In this video, I'm going to be going over a particular situation with a pretty popular Canadian company, and that is Parkland Fuels. The company is set to be acquired, but there is a pretty large gap between the company's share price and the acquisition price, and a lot of investors might be wondering if this is worth the opportunity, if they can effectively, gain that gap in share price if the acquisition were to close in a relatively short amount of time, because the deal is actually expected to close in the next 3-4 months. So there is the potential for double-digit upside in this situation if the deal does close. But there are a lot of caveats here, and there are a lot of issues with this acquisition, and I got to go over them in depth. And by the end of this video, you will have a pretty good understanding as to whether or not there is opportunity here. As always, everybody, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. At the end of the month, I give away subscriptions to our Stocktrades premium platform to random commenters. The more comments you have on the videos that month, the more entries you get. And as always, there's a ton of guides, stock research, case studies, things like that in the description. You can grab absolutely free, but let's get right into the video. All right, so before I get into the acquisition, just a little bit on what Parkland Fuels does. So this is a similar company to Alimentation Couche-Tard, except they do have a refinery. So they have that on top of the fuel servicing business, but you'll see Parkland Fuels, they operate a lot of things like Chevron, Esso brands, I believe. They have Ultramar, they have Fast Gas. So they're very similar to a company like Couche-Tard, but they do have that refining capability, and they're not really all that big. I mean, we can look here, they have a market cap of around 6.8 billion, whereas Couche-Tard has to be over 60 at this point of time. So it is quite a bit smaller of a company. It was one of the better performing Canadian stocks leading up to the COVID-19 pandemic. It was a faster grower than Couche-Tard, was performing very well. Obviously, when we look to a post-pandemic environment, it's really struggled. We're looking at a big dive in 2020. Obviously, with the refining business, it adds a little bit added risk to the company. To get down to the acquisition, so Parkland agreed to be acquired by Sunoco, which is a company that operates in a similar business model south of the border. So we can see that the acquisition is for US $9.1 billion, assuming all of Parkland's debt. So when we look to Parkland from a market cap perspective, they're only around 6.8 billion Canadian dollars. However, this company does have a lot of debt on the balance sheet, 5.5 billion. So when we look to this acquisition, we do have to remember it includes all debt. So the actual premium in terms of share price was only around 25%. So we're looking at a situation where the company is going to pay $44 per share to acquire Parkland Fuels. Now, you can get this in a wide variety of ways. You can get all Sunoco shares. You will get, I believe it's a little over half a share per share of Parkland. You can take $19 in cash, I believe it is, and then you can get the remainder in Sunoco shares, or you can just take the all cash offer of $44 a share. So right now, the company is only trading at around $39 a share, which means there's around 13%, give or take, arbitrage here. And the deal is actually expected to close at the end of 2025. They say midway through or at the end. So at the earliest, this deal could possibly close in the next 3 or so months. So that amount of arbitrage is definitely attractive. However, I'm going to go over why this arbitrage exists and also just what the overall situation is over Parkland over the last few years, because this is going to give you a very good idea as to why this is trading at a discount. So if we kind of look to a timeline here, we can go back to 2019, and Simpson Oil is one of the largest shareholders of Parkland Fuels. They own around 20% of the company. It's just under 20%. So back in 2019, they entered into a governance agreement with Parkland, agreeing to certain voting restrictions to prevent undue influence over the company's board. So they were a large shareholder, but they didn't really have any voting rights. So what ended up happening in 2023 is 2 Simpson nominated directors resigned from Parkland's board. And why they they did this, there was growing tensions between Simpson Oil and Parkland's leadership. And at this point in time is actually when I ended up selling my Parkland shares. And I'll explain the entire fiasco in a bit here, but I ended up moving on from the company because I could just see something wasn't right here. So Parkland Fuels typically has its AGM in the middle of the summer. I believe it's typically around June, give or take. I might be a little bit wrong on that. And Simpson Oil was set to actually have a bit of this governance be removed, and they were supposed to get voting rights back in order to nominate new board members as of March 31st, 2024. So what Parkland sneakily did was take its AGM and they moved that date backwards. So it was initially supposed to be in the summer, but they moved it to March 28th. So what exactly did this do? It limited Simpson Oil's ability to nominate new board members because their voting rights to nominate those board members wouldn't have come into play until March 31st. So they would have been able to do this on the initial board meeting, but because Parkland moved that board meeting back, they effectively did this. I mean, obviously they would never openly say it, but they effectively did this to kind of limit Simpson Oil's influence on the board. The company was really struggling at this time, and Simpson Oil, obviously being a 20% shareholder, has a lot of skin in the game, and they felt that the management, the board, was kind of botching the entire situation with Parkland Fuels, and I tend to agree on this side of things. I mean, this was a very well-performing company, and then they made some odd acquisitions. They acquired M&M Foods, and to pretty much distribute M&M Foods inside their gas stations. M&M Foods was a solid company, one that was growing at a pretty reasonable pace, but at the time it kind of felt a little bit odd. It felt that that type of company doesn't exactly mold in well with Parkland. And so there was a lot of uncertainty here, and Simpson Oil effectively wanted to step in and kind of get things going in the right direction. And Parkland kind of moved this to effectively restrict their ability to do so. So if we head to late 2024, Simpson Oil, they filed a lawsuit against Parkland, pretty much seeking to overturn the governance agreements that restricted its voting rights. Effectively, they wanted to be able to influence the board, and in reality, what they wanted to do was overhaul the board. Simpson wanted to get rid of this board, get a new board in place, and get this company going again. So what ended up happening is in March of 2025, there was a lot of pressure from Simpson Oil, and Parkland announced they were effectively doing a strategic review to try to figure out what they can do effectively to sell off some assets, what they can do to kind of, look at possible acquisitions to grow the company, or look at an outright sale. And at this time, what Simpson Oil was quietly doing was pretty much getting the vast majority of shareholders on board for a complete board overhaul. And there was rumors that Simpson Oil had over 60% of Parkland shareholders on board to pretty much overhaul this board. So we fast forward to April 2025. So the CEO, Bob Espy, he announced his resignation. He was going to continue till the end of the year, and then he was going to resign. There was a lot of shareholder pressure, and effectively, I mean, if he wasn't going to resign, he was probably going to get turfed, because Simpson had a huge chunk of the shareholder base that wanted to completely overhaul this board. So then we fast forward to this deal. So May 2025, they agreed to be acquired by US-based Sunoco in a deal valued at $9.1 billion. So again, this was cash and stock components, and Simpson pretty much came right out and said they don't really like this deal very much. They had pretty much set it up that they had a huge chunk of the shareholder base that was going to overhaul this board. So what did Parkland do? Again, they went out, they made this sale with Sunoco, then they postponed their AGM yet again. So this time, they pushed it more into the future because of this acquisition. So to me, this looks like Parkland the board effectively does not want Simpson Oil to pretty much allow them to overhaul the board. So instead, they push the AGM out. They run this acquisition that is expected to close very early. Like, this is a quick close on this sale. It could realistically happen in the next 3-4 months. And this kind of looks like they're kind of trying to box Simpson out again. They delayed the AGM, whereas likely in the AGM, there would have been potentially a board overhaul. They had a huge chunk of the shareholder base, and it's likely these guys probably would have been out of jobs. So what do? They kind of go and sell the company. And Simpson Oil pretty much said it was a delay tactic to face accountability as to how badly they've ran this company over the last while. So over the last few years, Parkland has kind of dodged this situation to try and avoid accountability from a major shareholder. This is terrible. I mean, it just looks bad. They have mismanaged the company overall, and they're just looking to it seems like a desperate attempt to maintain control of the company, especially considering the fact that Simpson Oil had a large chunk of the shareholder base that was ready to vote to get this board out of there and a fresh start. So overall, I think this is a relatively bad deal for shareholders. And I do think that is why this arbitrage opportunity exists. There's also some regulatory issues here. You're having, a pretty large refinery and gas station operator here in Canada being pretty much 100% acquired by a U.S. entity. They do say they're going to keep the headquarters in Calgary and significant employment levels in Canada. But overall, I just don't really think this is a good deal for Parkland shareholders, which is why this gap exists. I do think there is good potential that this deal could actually get voted down. If you think about it, if Simpson had a majority shareholder base to overhaul the board, you would think that Simpson, if they really don't like this deal, they could probably get enough shareholders on board to reject this deal. So if we come down to the actual benefits, so it's immediately accretive, which what this means is despite the shareholder dilution to effectively close out the deal, it's still expected to increase earnings per share. So immediately accretive with 10% accretion to distributable cash flow per unit and $250 million in run rate synergies by year 3. The company actually expects to return to their 4x long-term leverage target within a year or year and a half after the closing. They are getting Parkland Fuels very cheap here, in my opinion. If we look at Parkland's valuation, we come here, we go to valuation on Y chart, we're seeing the company is trading at 6.8x free cash flow. So if we account for the 12% arbitrage, the company's probably going to sell, pretty close to 8x. The company's trading at only 11.4x expected earnings. Overall, I think this is a pretty steep discount in terms of overall valuations. Is it massively undervalued? Probably not. When we look to historical averages, Parkland Fuels never really trades at too much of a premium. Even if we come to the drop down in 2019, the company typically traded at anywhere from 11 to 14x free cash flow. So to sell the company off right now at 8x seems pretty cheap. I do actually believe that there's a good chance that this deal could potentially face, first off, some regulatory uncertainty, and secondly, some, heavy pressure from a major shareholder that could easily kind of gather other shareholders in order to turn this down. So Simpson Oil is effectively saying that Parkland Fuels, the board at least, do not have the capacity to make this deal. It's highly likely that Simpson Oil would have gathered enough interest to potentially overhaul the board and put a lot of people from Simpson Oil in place. And effectively, they're saying, why is this board allowed to sell off the company at this point in time? And what Parkland has said in reverse to this is the fact that Simpson Oil is acting under the interests of Simpson Oil, who owns 20% of the company, but they want full control because they do want to put a lot of people in place on the board. So there's a huge spat here, and it's been going on for quite a few years. And overall, Parkland is effectively saying, we have a 20% shareholder here that is trying to push majority control by putting, a lot of people on the board, things like that. This is a situation where there is double-digit arbitrage opportunity here in a very short amount of time, but there also is the fact that this deal, it might not go through because of not only the issues with Simpson being able to effectively collect enough votes to shut this down, but also the regulatory issues from that U.S. company acquiring a company like Parkland. The only thing I would say here is it's not necessarily all that bad of an opportunity because Parkland Fuels, I would view the company as relatively cheap. So if you were looking to buy the company at this point in time, I don't necessarily think you're getting all that bad of a price. I mean, we look here, it was trading at $31 a share and it jumped all the way up to $39 post-acquisition. It's really not that bad of a price for this company. But the only thing is, if the deal gets shut down and either the current board stays on and continues to, in my opinion, mismanage the company, or Simpson Oil gets its way. A lot of new board members are nominated. There's a lot of uncertainty there in terms of operations. However, it could be a relatively quick, turnaround here if the company can get its situation in order. Overall, this current board is just not doing it. They need to effectively sell off the company like they're saying, or they need to just kind of go away, because this has been it's just been mismanaged on an entirely different level. So overall, if I were to be trying to take advantage of this 13% arbitrage opportunity, I would mostly be looking to do so with the idea of holding Parkland for the long term. And if this deal does go through and you get that 13% gain in a 4 or 5 month time frame, then that's just a bonus. But I really wouldn't be doing this on a speculative basis, because if this deal does get shut down, you're going to need to rely on Parkland turning it around in terms of its overall operations, and you have to have a lot of confidence in the company. Whereas if you just buy it, just trying to gamble and take that 13% play, you might end up a little disappointed, because clearly the market at this point in time thinks that, the deal probably will not go through. That's why we get the 13% gap here. Overall, again, if you're going to take advantage of this, do it if you don't mind holding the company long term. That is a situation I did with Activision Blizzard back when it was acquired by Microsoft. There was a large arbitrage opportunity here because of the regulatory uncertainty. I ended up buying the company to take advantage of that arbitrage, but there was also the alternative that if the acquisition didn't go through, I was fully comfortable just owning Activision for the long term. I felt them, as a very strong company, and that, I believe, is what you need to be doing for something like this. So everybody, that's it for the video. Remember, like the video, subscribe to the channel, head down below, comment. I'll be picking random commenters from the section at the end of the month. If you're subscribed to the channel and drop a comment, random commenters will win a premium subscription, a free year of premium. I'm going to be doing that at the end of every month. And as always, there's a ton of free guides, case studies, stock research in the description you can grab. And we'll see you next time for more great Canadian content.